Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
One of my good friends that's going to help us with our coverage of the draft. Her name is Deb Whitkus, two-time Emmy Award-winning sports producer. She and I had a wonderful conversation. You can catch that on YouTube, or you can catch the replay therein tomorrow. Y'all got to hear this conversation because we had a blast doing it. Calling all small businesses. Want to get your name, products, and services out to a local and national audience, not to mention a worldwide audience? Then choose the 360-degree advertising option of Snowman Multimedia. This is the network where every fan has a voice and every team has a fan. And we want you to be a part of it. Call 317-762-8567. That's 317-762-8567. Or drop an email to to info@snowmanmultimedia.com. That is info, I-N-F-O, at snowmanmultimedia.com. No more time wasted. Let's go down south. Let's go down to Wake Forest area, and please help me welcome Jay Spivey as he joins us this afternoon. How are you, my man?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well.
Now, Jay said something to me in a text message, which I totally agree with, and I know he's going to agree with what I said earlier. We'll start with the women's basketball tournament. I don't care how great you did during the season, when you go up against a juggernaut like South Carolina and you get drilled by 47 points, you ought to be embarrassed. Mr. Spivey?
You know, because I texted you about this yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
And I've gotten some bit of pushback on it because everybody says that Carolina had injuries. Well, I'm sympathetic to that. But I don't care how many injuries Carolina had. No team at North Carolina, University of North Carolina, I mean any sport, with the resources they have, the money they have, the facilities they have, should ever lose by 47 in any sport.
Exactly.
But yet I keep getting a lot of pushback because everybody was hurt. And, blah, blah. And it was closer early in the season when they played. So what? That meant nothing in November.
And it comes back to a question I posed earlier in the show, and I'll pose it to you right now. Should a coach, especially in college athletics, which is what you and I thrive on, should a coach be measured by his or her in-season success or postseason success? And we are all in agreement, especially now with March Madness going on, that they should be measured for their postseason success. Your thoughts on that?
Listen, because the NCAA has royally screwed up how college basketball was done and played. And it's basically a 6-week sport now, even though they've expanded it by 3 weeks during the season, from early November until early April now.
Yep.
And it's really, nobody's paying attention anymore because the NFL is destroying in every capacity. But there are a lot of apologists who don't see that. And the NCAA has screwed this up so much, and they can't see that either.
Right.
So because of their own mistakes, this is what happens. You're right. Almost every coach is going to be defined by his or her success in the postseason, whether you like that or not.
And here's the first example that we started with this morning, and we're talking about Kentucky, when they got bounced in the first round by Oakland University of Michigan. I was listening to my buddy Ryan Hickey Saturday night when he said boldly that they should move on from John Calipari, because you brought a name in John Calipari there to bring you some postseason success, and they only have one championship to show for it. Your thoughts on that?
Listen, I was just reading about that, as a matter of fact, and I heard people talking about it all weekend. Because Kentucky has an overinflated opinion of itself, the fans itself. If they do fire him, he has a $34 million buyout.
Yep.
And who are they going to find that's any better?
They're not.
They're not. So why go through the charade?
Well, it's a common conversation. You and I both know that. You know
Well,
who
I
the
mean,
next person should be on the hot seat? Hubert Davis.
well, that ain't happening.
I know. I know.
Well, we could go back to that not caring after beating Duke a couple years ago.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's the mentality of the Carolina fans. They don't. If it's not Duke, they don't care.
That showed this year when they
For
beat.
sure.
Yeah, I'm
They
hearing it
showed
down.
this
I'm
year.
hearing it down here. I'm hearing it down here with Wake.
Oh my
Everybody,
God.
there are a lot of Wake fans who apparently want to fire Steve Forbes, and I don't understand it because
Why?
people must have a short memory when Danny Manning and Jeff Busdelic were here and ruined the program. Steve Forbes has at least made it a competitive team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a lot. I was looking on social media yesterday. There are a lot of people who said, "Well, if he doesn't go to the NCAA tournament next year, we should fire him." Why?
I heard that. And that's my question. Why do you all have that opinion? Why? What
I
the
mean,
hell?
when he came in, whatever year, so this is his fifth year, fourth year.
Fifth year.
Yeah, the fifth year. I mean, what people seem to forget. I mean, it was as rock bottom of a program as you'll ever see at this high level of basketball.
Thank you, Danny Manning, for that.
And weirdly enough, I guess ironically enough, in this case, Danny Manning has just now been a part of another team in the ACC. This is rock bottom as you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Louisville's an embarrassment right now,
Yeah.
and he was
Yeah, it is.
assistant coach here this past season.
Mm-hmm.
They can't even find a head coach right now.
Who would want that job?
It is a
what it's coming down
disaster of a
to.
job right now.
Who would want that? Who would want that job? That's what it's coming down to. Who would want it?
Not me.
Not I.
The sad thing is Louisville's going to pay you. They're going to pay you,
Mm-hmm.
but it's obvious nobody wants that job.
Yep. And also going to depend, and Victor, you mentioned this earlier, it's also going to depend on how long you stay and what your success rate is.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Well, they clearly made the wrong choice with who they've had the last couple of years.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, they went with the in-house, well, not really in-house, but a Louisville person, and that was not the right choice.
Not at all. And you can see the results there on what happened there.
Yep.
They can't find anybody there. But again, it's another Danny Manning program. And
Mm-hmm.
and then another one. I mean, Danny Manning was with Maryland a year or so ago.
Yep.
Is it every program that Danny Manning's a part of?
Yeah. It seems that way. It seems that way that he ruins he ruins programs everywhere he goes.
I mean, I go back. I'm sure the Wake Forest fans are going to kill me for saying this, but
Say it anyway.
At his first year or two, when Ron Wellman, who was the former AD at Wake before he retired, for some unknown reason gave him a contract extension when he'd not proven anything, and nobody was after him as a head coach at any other school, and it got him in trouble because they waited to fire him, and finally they had to fire him.
Yeah.
So they ended up paying him a fortune. I mean, millions and millions of dollars.
They had no choice.
I mean, they should have fired him after year 2 or 3, but they refused to do it because of the money.
Yep. They refused to do it. And we've seen it so many times over in men's college basketball. We see it so many times over.
Well, we'll give Calipari credit for this. I mean, this is sort of on him the way he's kind of started this with the one and dones.
Yep.
Right.
It's not working.
He started all this.
It's not working. I don't care whether it's Duke or Kentucky or wherever else. The one and dones in terms of winning national championships are not working.
Which is why Roy Williams got the hell out. Which is why Mike Krzyzewski got the hell out.
Well, that's part of the reason. They didn't like the NIL and the portal.
And they saw the writing on the wall, and they beat it. And I don't blame them.
No, I don't blame them either.
I don't blame them one bit. I don't blame them one bit for getting getting out of there. Jay Spivey joining us here on the program, but it's just wild that the portal. Two things happened that ruined college sports: the portal and the NIL deals.
Mm-hmm.
They opened that NIL can of worms, and all hell broke loose.
I mean, I've told everybody this. I have no problem with college athletes getting paid.
Right.
but you can't do it at expense where you're going to a school just to get paid.
Mm-hmm. And nothing else matters. Just that.
And
Nothing.
I've been hearing things about people in the portal and they refuse to go anywhere unless they give him or her $50,000 up front. I mean,
That's
come on.
crazy. People,
You know,
they actually said that?
no, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So nothing else matters except that.
Oh yeah.
Yikes.
Well, I mean, the way especially with basketball now. I mean, I saw a special yesterday on Sports Center about Caitlin Clark, and the Iowa assistant coach and head coach said they started recruiting her in 6th grade.
Yeah.
What?
I don't
They
care
did.
how good she is. 6th grade.
They did.
Listen, I love Caitlin, and then the head coach said they played in Greensboro here in 2019,
Mhm.
which was Caitlin Clark's senior year of high school.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, the coach for Iowa, Lisa Bluter, played in Greensboro. They played in Greensboro, lost, and fell 1 game short, and they lost in the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
She hopped on a plane and went straight to Caitlin Clark's house in Des Moines.
Wow.
Just to get her to commit or sign with Iowa so she could be a part of a program to get to that next step. What does that tell you when a 17 or 18-year-old kid or whatever she was at that point knows that a coach of the school you're probably going to go to anyway
Yep.
is going to fly 1,500 miles just to come see me?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Let me get the
I mean,
big dogs.
let's face
the
it.
big.
Let's face it.
Go
She
ahead.
wasn't going. Let's face it. Caitlin Clark wasn't going anywhere but Iowa.
But Iowa, right?
Nope.
So she milked it for all his words.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, and you're the best basketball player in the history of the state. You're not going to go to Iowa?
Yeah, that's a problem.
How big of an uproar would that have been?
Yeah.
Had she not gone to Iowa?
Where's she going, like Nebraska or Minnesota or wherever else? A neighboring state. It'd been bad enough if she'd gone to South Carolina or Southern Cal or UConn or somebody like that. But if she's
Right.
going to a neighboring state,
Or a rival school like Iowa State.
oh yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Woof.
Or a rival school like Iowa State.
Very true.
How big of an uproar would have been? How big of an uproar would have been had that happened?
Well, this is largely on the NCAA, but because they don't know how to govern anything.
Nope.
No, they don't. They really don't.
They haven't for a while.
I always go back to what Michael Wilbon says. They're the Barney Fife of college athletics.
Yep.
They don't govern anything.
You get no argument from me.
And especially now, when it took year after year after year, when there was overwhelming evidence that Carolina was breaking the rules.
Yep.
And they went to basically NCAA court twice and didn't even get a slap on the wrist.
Nope.
The inmates are running the asylum.
Same thing for Kansas. Kansas is never going to get in trouble.
Nope.
Yep.
Never.
They're blue blood.
Arizona's never going to get in trouble.
Arizona will never get in trouble. Nope.
But if there was somebody like Wake or Georgia Tech or what, yeah, they're going to get killed.
They're going to get the death penalty.
It's just like when it's inevitable the ACC is going to collapse. I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I already saw it's already rumored where 9 teams are going to leave. I mean, if that happens, Wake and Boston College and Georgia Tech and Louisville and Pitt and 1 or 2 others, they're going to have to find another conference. I don't know where the other conference is going to be.
Me neither.
Because nobody's after Wake for football.
And that collapse started.
And this is all about football.
And that collapse started with football when they got rid of the divisions.
Well, yeah.
They got rid of 3 years ago. They got rid of the divisions. You and I saw it and talked about it.
Well, the ACC doesn't know what it's doing either.
And they haven't for a while.
Well, this has been a problem because they didn't envision that, because they want to stick with basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And look how that's got them in trouble.
Didn't envision football at all.
And now they had that John Swofford signed that horrible TV deal with ESPN.
Oh gosh.
And now everybody's trying to jump ship. I don't blame them.
Nor do I.
They can complain about Clemson and Florida State all they want. They're leaving the conference.
Mm-hmm. They're
both going to leave the conference.
Clemson sued the ACC. ACC tried to sue back, but they have all the reasons in the world to leave.
Clemson, Florida State's going to leave. State's going to leave. Carolina's going to leave. Virginia's going to leave. Virginia Tech's going to leave. It's just on and on and on and on. And Miami's going to leave. I mean, it's good. I saw where 9 teams are probably going to leave here soon. Because if one leaves, they're all going to leave.
Mm-hmm. Within a year,
it's going to collapse.
Just like the Pac-10 collapsed.
Well, that's their own part too, because they had an even worse TV deal.
Yep, and couldn't secure another one
because the commissioner was a moron,
a big moron.
I mean,
to let all that go.
The member schools hated him, and they would never get rid of him.
Which is weird to me, because if you hate the commissioner, who was a moron and doesn't have your school's best interests at heart in terms of getting you some eyes, and yet you won't fire him.
Nope.
You won't get rid of him. Why?
No, makes no difference.
Why won't you do that?
Makes no sense to me.
None. And now it's happening to the ACC. The Big Ten is getting more loaded. The SEC is getting more loaded. We're getting to the point right now where we're going to have 2 super conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC.
You know what's getting ready to happen. NCAA's going to either go away, or the Big Ten and SEC are just going to have their own sports league,
which is going to happen.
I mean, you're going to have probably 40 or 50 teams, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Just within those 2 conferences.
You have two big super conferences. 2. And they're getting bigger and bigger right before our eyes, and and everyone else wants to turn a blind eye to it.
Or how about the CFP? I mean, you just signed a deal. You just signed a deal a couple months ago to 12 teams for this upcoming season. Now you've already signed another deal for 14 teams to 26. Why not just go? If you're going to go with this, why not just start that deal now? Have you seen a ball snap for the 2024 college football season yet?
No. Nope.
So why not start this deal now?
Because they're too chicken to do it.
We have 5.5 months till the season starts.
Mm-hmm.
What is the wait? Why not just do this now?
They're milking it for what it's worth.
And of course, they're letting the Big Ten and the SEC and Notre Dame dictate what's done. Why does Notre Dame get an automatic spot? Why does the Big Ten and the SEC get automatic 3 spots each? Why? Just pick
TV deals.
Just pick the 14 best teams and go with that.
TV deals.
Victor and I talked about this. Let me get Victor's thoughts on this. And it echoes what Jay just said. You pick the 14 best teams. And go with it. And we all know, and we have seen the flaws of the BCS as well as the CFP. They do not pick the best teams to play for the national championship.
Oh, y'all seen it? You tell me why on pretty much any given season, why does ACC deserve 3 bids?
How the hell do they get 3 bids?
Apparently they're going to get 3 automatic bids. How does ACC deserve that?
Tell me how the hell are they going to get 3 bids? How do they get 3 bids out of this?
Clemson was way down. I don't care if Clemson was way down this past season. Florida State would have got them. But other than Florida State this past season, who deserved it?
Nobody.
Clemson was way down this past season.
No one deserved. I'll give you, the best example I can give you. They left out the defending national champion. And yes, they lost the SEC championship game, but shouldn't they have had a chance with the long winning streak they had to defend their title?
Yes.
Shouldn't they get it? Shouldn't they have had a chance? Victor brought this to me. Victor, let me go to you. When the CFP announced their 4 teams, Victor immediately called me and said, "Where's Georgia?" Yeah. Victor, take it from there.
Yeah, because Georgia earned their spot throughout the entire time. They earned their spot, but it's something that we said before. Where's the name brand recognition? By taking the 14 best teams, some of those teams are going to be teams that no one knows about. And therefore, they're not going to care about it because they're like, well, I don't know that team. But that's where you get to know the teams that are good.
generally, I mean, obviously the Big Ten is probably the second best conference on an average basis.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much every year, it's mostly Michigan and Ohio State who are the best teams.
Yep.
And you go to the Western teams. I mean, Iowa's horrible this year.
Mm-hmm. And they got drilled in the Big Ten championship.
Well, because they can't score.
They got absolutely drilled.
Yep.
Was that guy in the T-shirt on the Virginia broadcaster in the NCAA tournament the other day? Virginia basketball is the Iowa football.
It is.
I mean, Snowman, we talked about multiple times how we know people who are like, if this is a team that I don't know about, I don't watch it.
Right.
Even that team is going on a tear. I mean, an absolute tear.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I heard with you and Mr. Spivey have been talking about Wake Forest and how great they were during baseball, and not a soul talks about it because, like, well, I don't know that team, so I don't care.
Yep.
We talked about it all spring last year. They don't know about it and they don't care.
Well, listen, the Florida State people are apparently just bludgeoning Kirk Herbstreit because Kirk Herbstreit said that Florida State shouldn't be in. Well, I saw them play. I mean, yeah, they were good, but they're not championship level good. So why put them in just because they won the ACC and went undefeated? Just because you're undefeated doesn't make you better than some other teams.
Yep.
Just like with this argument this weekend about the ACC's having a great weekend. Well, yeah, they did have a great weekend. They won what, 8-1, I believe. Virginia was the only loss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yes, that's great. I applaud them for that. But that doesn't mean they had a great regular season. It's totally different.
Exactly.
It's totally different.
And we talked about this at the top of the show that the coaches should be measured by their postseason success, and we touched on it here in this segment. And I want everybody in on this conversation. When they selected the 4 number 1 seeds, the only solid number 1 in the men's tournament was Connecticut.
Right. Absolutely.
Not wrong.
Not at all.
Houston was fraudulent, and they proved that last night. North Carolina's fraudulent, and I'll go to Jay in a minute about this because I want him to tear that up. And Purdue is fraudulent as a number 1 seed.
What the hell did Purdue do to get number 1?
You tell me how the hell you tell me how the hell that 2 big-time conference champions, and I'm talking about North Carolina State and Illinois, NC State gets an 11?
That's because of the ACC.
They get an 11.
All you got to do is look at that and look at Virginia. Well, of course, it's obvious. It's proven over and over here that Virginia had no business in the tournament. None. But they got in over some other teams.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the ACC, it shows you what the committee thought of the ACC.
Committee don't give a.
Yeah.
No, man.
I mean, just think about it, guys. Virginia got in by an eyelash. State only got in. State only got in because they won 5 games in 5 days.
In 5 days, yes.
So the ACC came close to only getting 3 teams in when you have a 15-team conference.
Mm-hmm.
Even Clemson was sucking it up, and I don't know where this team came from the last couple of days, but it was that team that hadn't shown up the last 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And Carolina really hasn't played anybody, so you don't know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're going to LA. I mean, if they play Arizona, which is quite possible, I mean, Arizona's it's going to be a home crowd in LA for the most part.
It is. Because for a while, their Pac-10 tournaments were in Los Angeles at the Staples Center.
Well, LA's not that far from Tucson. It's not, but
nope.
I don't
it's
know,
not.
4, 5, 6 hours or whatever it is.
I think it's like 5 hours.
I mean, it's
LA is
not far
5
at all.
hours from Tucson.
Not far at all.
Tell me they won't make that drive without blinking.
No, I don't think it. Unless you really want to. I mean, unless you want to start driving right now, you're not going to make it from Chapel Hill to Tucson and by Friday or Thursday, whenever the game is.
Nope, you're not, because you got to stop for gas. You got to stop for and talking to a guy that has made those drives. Jody and I have made those drives from Carolina to Indiana. We've driven to Atlanta. We've driven as far as Texas. Okay, those are tough drives to make. But from LA to Tucson, man, they're packing up now to make that drive. They're packing up now.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy. If college sports don't get, I'll save that for next time. Jay Spivey joining us here on the program. I gotta save it for next time because if we empty the clip now,
it's gonna be intended.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you, Jay. Love you, brother. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I nearly got in trouble.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
I nearly got in trouble. I think I got to go get some iced coffee to calm me down. Yeah, iced coffee and calm do not belong in the same sentence. Y'all know that.
Right.
No, they don't.
But I'm going to get some anyway. I close with this. Kyrie Irving, you a bitch. Hey, God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We are, and we hope y'all are too. Football tomorrow. We're out of here. See you then.